can we help the students to actually have the ability to choose between different technologies compared to what they're doing, instead of us as teachers choosing for them. Because what we see now is that we have a lot of banning at schools where you're not allowed to have your mobile phone, you're not allowed to use internet and stuff, especially when you go to the final exams. But during the whole school year, you are using the internet all the time. But when we go to the final exams, you're not allowed. So we need to teach our students in Denmark to choose wisely when to use the device and when not to use the device, and what device do they need to use.
So we're having this interesting conversation here about what's happening in industry and shifting nature of work, and then what you're trying to do in schools in how we reframe how we look at it. I know in the US and Canada it's similar. World Economic Forum, and I think someone's controlling the slide here, they can go to it in a second. So they did an analysis of, and they keep doing this, skills for 2020, and then last year, this fall around this time, they did an analysis of hundreds of thousands of different companies, jobs around the world, and looked at what are the shifting nature of skills that employees are looking at. And what they did is look at the trend and the change. So what are the skills that are growing, and what are the skills that are declining? If we can actually get to that slide, because I want to show you what that list looks like. Somewhere, oh, you want me to put it? There, look at this. Perfect, there's the list. So take a look at that. The interesting thing here is, because we're talking about what we're doing in our classrooms, right? And we're talking about what industry is looking for. And you mentioned AI. This really what we need is something to group this AI bot. Take a look at the skills that are growing and the skills that are declining. What I want you to do, I'm going to take a page out of the students this morning. Stand up if you feel like most of the stuff on this declining list are the types of tasks and activities, behaviors that we're primarily focusing on in our schools today. So if you feel like majority of our classrooms every day, we're working on these skills on the right-hand side, I want you to stand up. Go ahead, Mark, you can stand up. I know you wanted to stand up, right? And now I know the rest of you are online. Because when I go and I do sessions with administrators and teachers, and when I ask, and I don't tell them where the data comes from, I ask them, sort this list into what you have your students developing more frequently on a weekly basis. And it doesn't matter where I am in the world, it's usually that stuff on the right-hand side. Right? And when I heard you mention and talking about is that these are what the insight shows is these are the types of things that we need to be developing. They're a little bit broader. So how do you respond to that? How do you respond to what we're learning from technologies that are shifting nature of what employers are looking for? In the U.S., perhaps to give us context, because you're most connected to both sides, right? From the employer's perspective, what are we doing in part of education to be aware of that, right?
And I would just say that in each of your states, if you have government involved in it, you need to get engaged in it. A year ago, Perkins 5 was passed, which is the federal investment in current technical education, which funds a lot of the programs like what was talked about, Project Lead the Way. We're squarely sitting in that space to stand up our investment in technical training. But one piece that Congress changed dramatically in there was an acknowledgement that there has been a widening gap between education and the economy in most communities across this country. There's a great Brookings, actually this one, it wasn't the Brookings report, it was Fordham Institute had a study last spring that started with a preamble that noted that the average American lives a median distance of 18 miles from their mom. Now granted, nobody wants them in the basement, but the key part is they are living close. And so as we train individuals in our schools to go to work, it's not to go to work hundreds of thousands of miles away. The vast majority are going to live and work right there. And so in the last Perkins Act, there's a requirement that there be a comprehensive local needs assessment. So for the first time in the history of our business of training people for careers, school districts are going to have to look at labor market information and do a deep analysis of what are employers looking for, what are the skills. Let's have a conversation about not just what programs we're offering, but what's embedded within that so that they're ready to go to work either right out of high school, after a 2-year degree, after a military experience, or after an apprenticeship or a 4-year degree.
Actually, I think one of the advantages that we have now, which is, in my history in education, I think it's one of the first times I've seen it, there's a real alignment between the business communities, whether it's corporate Canada, corporate US, and worldwide, and what we're seeing in education. For the first time, we're saying both groups are saying we need that broad set of skills for students to be able to be prepared for the workplace and to be happy and productive citizens and happy in their family life. And I think that's a real opportunity. And the kinds of skills, even though I like that idea of it being a look at each of your local communities, but I would be very surprised if the skills are massively different. I think the advantage with the process is that you're going out and you're connecting with your local communities, but I bet when that's all pulled up to the top, there will be some real commonalities across those skills. And I think that's the advantage that we have right now. I mean, it's interesting when you think of the people that are in the room here right now. We've got a combination of people that are state technology directors, and we have vendors that are in place. It gets back to what Tom was saying. How do we interact better so that we have good things in our classrooms that are preparing our kids for the world of work?
Yeah, I don't think there's a great deal of debate about the skills anymore. You can have a chart like this, change the words a little bit. What you're going to find is that if the labor market signals, that is, salaries and job opportunities are telling us anything, it's people who have these hybrid skills, who have technical literacy, maybe varying depths depending on their particular occupational specialization. But enough technical literacy combined with the social skills to be able to communicate and to solve problems individually and in teams with data, and to communicate that in writing and other forms of expression so that they can actually solve problems. And so it's this combination, it's the hybrid skills. You can apply these technologies to your job in marketing or in personnel or in manufacturing engineering or as a welder or as an electrician or as a person working in a warehouse, where you've got to be able to manage an increasingly technologically driven set of systems and be able to help repair them as we go along. So it's the combination of these skills, plus, and this is, I think, something we really need to focus on, you are only the first phase of what has to be a lifelong learning process. The most important thing that we can do in our educational systems is to create a taste and an ability to continue to learn, so that as the skills change, as the technologies change, as industries come and go, that people can adapt over time. Final point, and this is something I'd like to get us to really talk about, is, again, I don't think it's so much a debate over what, it's a debate over how do we get these various institutions really to work together. Because I don't have to tell our friend Scott here, who comes out of the community college and educational system, it's all in the coordination with industry, with labor and apprenticeship programs, and with the curriculum within the community colleges that have to adapt over time and work together to make sure that we are investing in the right kind of education and enough education, and then making it available to the diverse population.
So Tommy, when you're right, you said, this isn't new to us, right? And this conversation is, and you heard it multiple times with the students in the morning and with Vince, and now we're having the conversation again. So let's have a conversation about, well, then what's happening, right? And I know you're very connected with policy, and the MIT task force, it's all about, let's gather the evidence and let's create there. So what's happening kind of at a high kind of government and policy level to respond to this, like to create the change? Where Vince talked about, it's not happening right now in our schools that are developing. So, what's happening kind of possibly in the labor market? How are we pushing companies as well to get involved? What's your experience?
Well, we're seeing a lot of companies really take leadership in this area. You mentioned IBM. IBM has a very sophisticated My Learning tool, is the way they describe it. And we're doing some work with them because they have a system. You can go online, assess your own skills. Here's my job today. Now, given what I'm doing today, here's a sense of where these jobs are going, and the new job opportunities 5 years from now might be here. Here's a series of educational programs that you can use to get the pathways. And by the way, you're expected to spend about 80 hours a year in education and training. So some companies, and I only use that as one example, but I could give you many more, are doing a lot. But you can't do it company by company, because there is a well-known market failure. That is, if I invest in the skills of my workforce, but my friend here, competitor Scott, doesn't, then I know what Scott's going to do. He's going to hire him away. And because I know that, and he knows that, neither of us is best. But if you get us together and coordinate us, then we share the costs, and then we compete a bit on the graduates, but we distribute those costs, and we get more investment. That's where we need to go. We need to get the institutions at every region. We should have a community-based ecosystem for improving lifelong learning. I can give you an example or two of where that's happening, but we'll save that for us.
And then on a global scale, Jen, I'd love for you to share with the group a bit about how OECD kind of looked at this and kind of the readings of it, and kind of the work that you're involved with and the new study that's happening.
Yeah, I think all of you are well aware of the PISA assessments, the international assessments of 15-year-olds in reading, mathematics, and science. And I don't know about the teachers in your systems, but I know the teachers in Canada always had a big pushback on that, saying that's not all of what we do in our classrooms. Our classrooms teach kids skills that are far beyond those pre-academic areas. And in response to that pushback, the OECD is in the process right now of launching a study on social emotional learning. It will be the first international assessment, and of course what it's trying to do is it's trying to come up with measures of what those skills are and how they can measure them in a way that's actually going to be helping kids worldwide develop those skills. It's very interesting because it's going to be 10 and 15-year-olds. It's very interesting because it's 10 countries around the world, kind of a city in each of the countries. So in Canada, Ottawa is a representative city, and the US, it is Houston. But in addition to those two cities, cities in Russia, in China, in South Korea, in Turkey, in Italy, in Portugal, and in Colombia. So we're going to get a really good sense of what are those skills and how do they play out interculturally. And those are some things that when I think of your job as state technology directors, you've really been infused with the idea of how you have technology help students develop reading, writing, mathematics, etc. But this broadens your scope. What kinds of technologies can actually help students be learning in an environment which encourages active collaboration, active problem solving, active critical thinking? When you think of those students that were talking about the kinds of tasks that they were doing, they were talking about really rich instructional tasks that were supported by technology. And so I think that that broadens your scope of the kinds of things that you're doing, and it will be very interesting. Those results are going to be out next spring, next fall, and we'll be able to have a sense of what's happening interculturally and around the globe in the area of social emotional learning.
Yeah, just stepping on that just quickly, that you really started with the second piece, because we've talked about the skills, the technical skills, the technologies that are coming out. So there is the how we do our work, or there's the what we do at work, but there's also the how, which starts to get into, and I spent 3 years working for a completely virtual company, 20 employees all across the United States. Absolutely, you can have those kinds of interactions, but our system wasn't designed for a workplace like that. So how do we start to challenge the way we think about doing business? My daughter is, like I said, a very small school. We don't have enough capacity, instructional capacity to hire an IT or a health science instructor, but she's taking online courses through community college and getting learning that way, which years ago we wouldn't allow online learning to happen at the high school level. So how do we continue to open up, again, do it through the quality pedagogy underneath it that trains those soft skills and social and emotional skills you have?
Yeah, so it's interesting because some of you might be thinking, oh boy, we're doing standardized assessments for literacy and numeracy. Are we going to just go to the same thing and worry about, I hope our kids do well and being empathic and what's their score on empathy and we're ranked top 5. What are your thoughts about where we're going to go in terms of, we now know these are important, we value them, organizations that influence kind of these standardized assessment practices. Are we going to proliferate now this new kind of form of measuring something hyper-focused on kind of the essence of what we're trying to accomplish.
And I couldn't agree more, and that was actually part of the fear of moving into any type of measurement into social emotional skills and for other skills is, do we do the same thing where we have kids comparing if they're a 3.2 in empathy compared to a 3.4 in empathy? How sad would that be if we do the same thing that we ended up doing with those technical skills? And so when I think of what is it that will prevent that from happening, it's actually sitting in this room, it's the superintendents, and I think of the superintendent from this morning, that idea of a vision, of being very purposeful in coming out and saying, these are the broad skills that we want our kids to have when they're coming out of our school system, so that they're ready to be going into post-secondary and be productive and out into the workplace. It's that, and the second piece I would say is the focus on pedagogy first. It's about what are the kinds of learning tasks that the students are doing, and if we know what kinds of rich and meaty and big problems that they're trying to solve, students will naturally go and pick the device and pick the application that actually makes sense to solve that problem. They will naturally gather together and work together. We had a heck of a time when we started implementing technology in our school districts and our school systems because we couldn't keep up with the training for the teachers to teach them how to use the devices. We don't even attempt to do that anymore, and I'm assuming it's the same in your states. We put the focus on having teachers think about those big, meaty problems and then have access to a number of different kinds of devices, including what the kids are walking into the school with, into the classroom with. The kids will help the teachers figure out how to do the technology. We don't try to do it in the other direction anymore. The teachers are motivated. Every teacher in your system wants to walk out the door feeling that their kids have learned that day. And when they see their kids interacting and when they're trying new devices, etc., that's what will motivate the teachers to be saying, gee, I need to know a little bit more about that piece of technology, and this is what my learning piece is going to be. So really the focus on it is on vision and really being purposeful and calling out, these are the skills that we're trying to help our students develop. And then secondly, how do we put the focus on pedagogy and helping our teachers develop those good, strong pedagogies.
I like where you're taking this, because now it's not just about talking about and being aware, it's now what are we actually doing? And when we get into the classroom level and what teachers have to plan when we get ready, what is it that we're doing to make sure that we're creating the experience to do it? So Lasse, tell us a bit about, in Denmark, there's this new curriculum, right, that's being formed, you're part of this task force. So tell us a bit about kind of the impetus of that and the work that you're involved with that.
Well, we have had the same issues that you just said, show you it, but what we saw that was maybe the biggest, burning stuff around our whole curriculum was that we, as a very small country, we're only 5.5 million in Denmark, and we saw that the way that technology actually now challenges our democracy is really what was going to form this new mandatory curriculum that we're building. So we have 4 different competence areas. We have 2, which is hard skills, which is digital design process, which is digital citizenship, or digital empowerment. And what we see is maybe that the way that we are working with the digital design processes actually is where the biggest change for the teachers out in the classroom and for the students as well is hidden. Because we have been used to look at what students do in classes as products. And if you go into a digital design process, everything is what we call prototypes. So when I have an assignment in 3rd grade, it's just a prototype. I hand it over to my, friend student or to my teacher or whatever to get new ideas in how to actually go through with it and get it better. And that's one of the biggest changes we see now is that everything we do in school is prototypes. And everything is part of a long learning process, which also has the ability to actually point at different competence areas than we've been used to. This is why that we have really, I'm not going to say so much bad about the PISA test, but that really changed the Danish school system 5-10 years ago in the wrong way. So with this new curriculum, which is mandatory, it's going to be the 3rd biggest mandatory curriculum in the Danish school system. Danish